there have been stages of this whole Laker LeBron thing. There was the recruiting stage. Can we get him? Can we get him? And then there was the LeBron's a Laker stage. And there's a power struggle stage. Who's going to get their way? And now we have entered the fourth stage, which is the rumor stage. Season's over. Now the rumors start. The big rumor out there today is Luke Walton is done. I can confirm I've heard this from 3 different sources I've trusted. And I've also been told Ty Lue, 75-80% chance will be the next coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So we had the recruiting stage. We got LeBron's a Laker stage. We got the power struggle stage. And now we have, all right, this one's done, rumor stage. You're going to hear a lot of rumors. The Luke Walton one is in full swing. LeBron's going to win this. He doesn't have a close friend on the roster, not close with the coaches, not necessarily close with the ownership. He is close with Magic, who's got his own power struggle in the building with Jeannie Buss. LeBron's going to win this power struggle. He's going to get his coach. Ty Lue's a solid head coach. The rumors are very persistent and very strong now. We have entered the rumor stage of LeBron as a Laker. My belief, what the Lakers, this is the highest probability this morning of what they'll look like next year, although it's not set in stone. Ty Lue is your coach. LeBron is your star. Anthony Davis via Clutch Sports is also next to LeBron. And then Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, one of those 2 will not be traded to get Anthony Davis, and that's your team. That is a good team. It is certainly a more interesting team. It is not a top 5 team in the league. It is not Golden State. It is not Houston. It is not Philadelphia. Joy and I both like the Sixers a lot. They're growing, but it's not Philadelphia. I don't think it's Milwaukee. I don't. And I don't think, frankly, Kyrie there or not, I think Boston is got more depth, more picks, more players, and would land somebody else if Kyrie left. It is somewhere between 6 and 12 in the NBA. LeBron's really smart. LeBron's been around a long time. Do I believe LeBron thinks my guy Ty Lue and Anthony Davis and let's say Brandon Ingram, we're winning a title? No, I do not. This rumor stage is going to get really, really tasty here over the next 3 months. Kyrie Irving's name is going to start surfacing. LeBron's very good with shooters. Klay Thompson's name is going to start surfacing. LeBron's great with shooters. Kevin Durant's name, many will dismiss it. I am told he doesn't want to leave California. That's what I'm told. You're going to now, we have entered the rumor stage. Some of these will be silly. Some will be more concrete. The first big rumor now that's coming out is it's over for Luke. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's fair. Many people can deny it. I'm told Ty Lue is probably the next guy. And it's interesting, as I'm driving to work this morning, I'm thinking about LeBron James. And every great player in NBA history, and I'm just going to talk great ones, even they have had a hole. Magic, not a very good defender. Larry Bird, so athletically. Michael Jordan, didn't have the greatest shooting range, to be honest with you. Mostly a mid-range guy. Kobe Bryant, not always the best on-floor teammate. Charles Barkley, Lord, he was talented. Practice, effort, defense. Sometimes Charles was a little apathetic. Wilt Chamberlain, kind of a flake. LeBron James, well, he can shoot, he can drive, he can handle. Oh God, he can pass. He's strong physically. I've never seen LeBron as having a hole in his game. Not saying he's an A+ at everything. But in his prime, he could defend, he could pass, he could shoot, he could score, developed a low post game, took him about 7, 8, 9 years, and developed into a really nice three-point shooter. The hole in LeBron's game to me has always been he struggles with authority. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not going to try to play one. Push back on Riley, push back on Gilbert, push back on coaches, especially when he's introduced to a new coach. David Blatt, get out of here. Eric Spoelstra, I want you out of here. Pat Riley won't. Luke Walton, you're not my guy. I want you out. LeBron has struggled with authority. That's the hole in his game. And this year, it has completely been on display. The difference is he can't give you 42 minutes a night. LeBron was always the player that could just sort of overwhelm, take a bad roster, take a Mozgov, take guys that didn't move well, take flaky guys, J.R. Smith, take the always enigmatic Mario Chalmers, take an older D. Wade, take a Kevin Love who's not a great defender. LeBron could always just burrow through all of it. He just can't anymore. But he does remain one of the smartest NBA players. Not just this year, ever. And the projected Laker team next year is Ty Lue, LeBron and Anthony Davis, and one of the young guys. I do not believe that LeBron James thinks that's a title team. So we are in the beginning stages of rumors. The Luke Walton one is the hot one today. I believe it to be true. Aligning with Ty Lue, he could finally have a guy in the room on the plane that's his guy that he trusts. But you're going to hear Klay Thompson, you're going to hear Kyrie, and you're going to hear Kevin Durant. We're going to have to sift through all of this stuff. But I do not believe that a player as smart as LeBron James looks at that projected team on the picture on FS1 right now and says, those are my guys. That's a bunch of titles. No, don't believe it. I don't believe one of the smartest NBA players looks at that. There are no shooters on that team outside of LeBron. There are no great shooters on that team. So the rumor season has started. Luke is the first carnage, but it has just begun. We're going to sift through them together. NBA guy for this network via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network, Chris Broussard. All right, I talked about 20 minutes ago about the blame pie. When things go bad, everybody's going to blame people. If we sliced it up, Magic Pelinka, injury, Clutch Sports, Luke Walton. If I ask you, where does the majority of the blame go for this Laker mess? How do you answer that, Chris?
Well, I thought the pie was good. You had a lot of specifics, but I would focus on two main things. One, LeBron's injury, and to a lesser extent, the other injuries. Rondo missed 34 games. Lonzo's been out for 17 or 18 games. The injuries have crushed them. People forget they were the 4th seed in the West before LeBron got hurt. And even with the horrible coach Luke Walton, right, they were 10th in the league defensively. So let's remember that. A sign of a good coach is a coach that has his team playing defense. So there's that. The second thing I would focus on was the Anthony Davis trade fiasco. And that does fall mostly at the feet of Magic and Rob Pelinka. You can throw in Clutch Sports for a little bit. You could throw in LeBron for a little bit because he never should have been talking publicly about Anthony Davis. When he's asked about it, just, hey, no comment. I'm not talking about other players. Don't go in an interview with Rachel Nichols and talk about how much you're going to recruit guys because that makes your other players in your locker room feel like, wow, he doesn't think we're good enough. So there's that. But the front office should not have let the Anthony Davis saga become what it did. They had to get out in front of it and say, look, I don't know where these trade rumors are coming from, but we like our team. We like our young guys. We feel like they're growing. They're getting better. We were just the 4th seed before LeBron got hurt. And, of course, like every other team, we're trying to improve, but we like Kyle. We like Brandon. We feel like we can go to war with these guys. I don't care if you're lying. You might be lying through your teeth, but Magic came out, basically confirmed everything, and then afterwards says, hey, you got to be big boys about it. Yeah, of course you do, but still, they're human beings too. So the front office needs to get out in front of it. And Colin, you can look at that is huge because defensively is where they've fallen off since the trade rumors. You look at Brandon Ingram's offense, you look at Kyle Kuzma's offense, and we say, hey, the young guys are still playing well. Of course, offensively, you always want to play well on offense. Everybody wants to score and put up numbers. But where you see the lack of morale, Where you see the lack of chemistry, where you see the lack of trust among teammates is on the defensive end. In the first part of the season, they were willing to cover up for LeBron. They understood he was older. He's carrying the offense. You're going to have to carry him on defense and cover for him. Once the AD trade saga happened, they're no longer willing to cover for LeBron defensively, and that's why they've sunk the way they have.
There's a story this morning that LeBron would sit out games, last 15, 18 games. I don't think it looks great. He hasn't squashed an ant yet in Los Angeles. What do you make of that story?
I'm with you. I think that, look, when they're eliminated mathematically, which, believe it or not, will be a while from now, then you can sit him if you want. It might be 6, 7, 8 games left in the season, whatever. But until then, no way. Look, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're done. But it's not over. I mean, you still have the best player in the world or one of the top players in the world. Go for it. Here's another thing, Colin. We all think this team's going to look a lot different next year. And obviously a lot of the one-year veterans, they'll be gone. But what if you can't trade for Anthony Davis this summer? That would mean likely that Kuzma and Ingram are still a part of your team going forward. Maybe they try to trade one of them for a Bradley Beal or something like that. But the bottom line is these two guys plus Lonzo could be a part of your team next year. So for the future, they need these games. These are their playoffs. You're not out of it. You need to go and talk about, look, they need to learn what playoff pressure-filled basketball is about, and they can get that if LeBron's still playing. If he sits, then you're just coasting through the rest of the season and everybody's going for their individual numbers. And to your point, you're right. LeBron has had some bad optical moments this season. Sitting apart from the teammates in Indiana on the bench, you know, all the stuff he's got going on in Hollywood, the TV shows, the albums with 2 Chainz. And a lot of fans, Laker fans, are starting to think, did he come here to play basketball or just to be a mogul? A lot of fans are also looking at Kobe, and they're saying Kobe brought it every night. I'm telling you, Kobe's image is actually improving with LeBron here.
Yep.
Because people are comparing him to LeBron and saying, Kobe brought it. We didn't have to worry about Kobe's intensity and all that from night to night. Even if he missed shots or whatever, he brought it. And so this would just be another bad optic for LeBron if he sits out.
3 minutes left. I have 4 different executives, sources, people in the league saying Luke's done, Ty Lue is next. Can you confirm, deny? What are you hearing?
I'm hearing the same thing, and I'm hearing that Ty Lue is going to want big money to put up with LeBron and Magic. And he's smart because, look, those are 2 powerful guys. Those are 2 guys that are going to speak their minds. So you better get some security. Ty Lue knows, even though he and LeBron have a great relationship, it's tough to coach LeBron.
Yeah.
And so he wants to be compensated very well, and I think he will. Doc Rivers, I don't think Doc will leave the Clippers. He shouldn't if he's going to get Kawhi, and who knows who else they might get, a KD or somebody like that. So I think Ty Lue is definitely what I'm hearing, and I'm hearing he's going to want big money, and it looks like the Lakers will pony it up.
All right, you got a radio show to do later with Rob Parker. You're doing a great job. First things first, Chris Broussard in New York. Good seeing you, bud. The NBA has a history of blaming the coach. So as the season's unfolded, the first carnage is going to be Luke Walton. But I thought this morning it was time for delicious pie. It's the blame pie. And I think there's a lot of blame to go around with this first disastrous season. So where would I put the percentages? I would say we'll have a pie chart for you. 20% of the blame is on LeBron's groin. Shame on you, LeBron's groin. He missed 17 straight games with a groin injury. Okay, that's the longest streak of consecutive games missed in his career. The team has gone 6-12 without him in the lineup, and that's when the disarray really started. I think almost a quarter of the issues have been LeBron's injury. The second thing, but I'd put it at a higher percentage because I think leadership matters, 30% on Magic and Rob Pelinka running the team. This will be the 6th straight season without a playoff berth. LeBron did come to Los Angeles, so Magic landed him, But again, many people believe LeBron, entertainment, Maverick Carter, that was going to happen anyway. And by the way, the roster is kind of a mess of one-year contract, goofy guys. Michael Beasley, Rondo, can't play or stay healthy. Lance Stevenson, never been a go-to guy. Not guys that really connect with LeBron, not LeBron's type of guys. So I think they get 30% of the blame. Then I'm going to give 12.5% blame, number one, to Clutch Sports. That's the group that represents LeBron. Rich Paul leads that. It's his agency, and they represent Anthony Davis. Listen, that whole trade thing, they were too aggressive, too many leaks. I mean, it was like the White House. There was a leak every 15 minutes. You got to put some blame on they didn't handle it well. Rich Paul, smart guy, will do fine over time, but it was his first big move, and it was kind of a mess, and too many stories got out, and your job as an agent is to keep stuff out of the papers, not into it. I'd also give 12.5% blame to Luke Walton. Now, that seems very low, but I don't care if you had Greg Popovich. How many games are you winning with Lance Stevenson, a bunch of kids, and an aging LeBron? Now, I do think Luke Walton struggles to find an offensive identity. His substitution patterns are way too random for me. I watch coaches out of timeouts. He's not great at that. Magic Johnson, according to the LA Times, in November, Magic Johnson had a shouting match with him and demanded that Luke create an offense that was identifiable. I watch every Laker game. That's my biggest complaint. His substitution patterns are weird. They're not very good out of timeouts. And frankly, I don't know what the hell that offense is. I would also then blame 10% on Lonzo Ball's health. I'm not blaming Lonzo. I'm blaming his ambiguous health. He can't stay healthy. And by the way, they are 20-14. The Lakers are when Lonzo and LeBron have both played. They're pretty good. He developed a better three-point shot. He got bigger and stronger. I thought he started playing really well before he got hurt, attacking the rim. Some of this is just Lonzo got hurt. And Lonzo was developing into a really nice player on this team and much more, I think, dependable from the outside than Rondo. 5% of the blame I'd give to Spring Hill Entertainment. That's Maverick Carter. That's LeBron. That's his entertainment company. LeBron's been involved in 20 projects since coming to Los Angeles. It's not the end of the world, but I don't love that a lot of this stuff is being done in the season and is airing in the middle of losing streaks. I do think that kind of permeates a locker room and is kind of bad. I'm separate from everybody else. 5% I blame on the Pelicans. They muddied the waters. They got ticked off. They were immature. Adele Demps, their GM, got fired. They just wanted to make the Lakers hurt after the AD rumors came out. And so they just called anybody who would listen, made stuff up, dirty the waters. But I'm not going to make the percentage huge because they have a right to do that. And you can't put blame on another team in the NBA. It's on you. And then 5% I think is father time. Folks, LeBron's in his 16th season. He turned 34 in December. Including playoffs, LeBron has played almost 12,000 more minutes than the second most Joe Johnson. That's almost 4 NBA seasons. So I think when you look, if you want to create the blame pie, I think the largest share goes to the people running the franchise, Magic and Rob Pelinka. Then I think LeBron's injury, Clutch Sports, Luke Walton, fall in line, taking parts of it. Then I think there's a bunch of 5%ers. But in the end, this is where we're at now. Because you know the way the world works now. It's nobody's fault individually. It's not my fault, not your fault. Gotta be somebody else's fault. And if you had to create the pie, to me, that's what it looked like. This has always been the time of the year, for the last 10 years, where I get on my soapbox and I'm like, can we stop arguing? LeBron's the best player in the league. Like, this is stupid. He's the best. He's a Swiss Army knife. And for 10 years, I've been saying that. And, my brand, whatever that is very pro Tom Brady and pro LeBron. Okay, it is. When people complain about me, it's all you ever talk about is Tom Brady and LeBron. Well, if they were bad players and I talked about them, that'd be stupid. But they're the greatest of all time, arguably, so I think it's pretty smart. But even I have to admit, this has been LeBron's lost season. Even counting his rookie year, there's been a lot of things optically, physically. It's been his worst year, not statistically. So I thought to myself this morning, I'm not an awards guy, but if I did my top 10 NBA players, the seasons they've had this year, not overall, I mean, LeBron's greater than any player in the last 10 years, right? Then it's Kobe, and then it's... But what are the 10 best years in the NBA? 10 best players right now, the years they have had, and so it's kind of my MVP race. My top, if I was going to vote for the MVP and I had 10 votes, here's where I'd vote. Ready to go? Number 1, Paul George.
Number 1.
Paul George. First of all, he's at career high for him, and he's playing with Westbrook. This needs to be noted. He's playing with ball-centric Westbrook, and yet Paul George, career high in points, assists, rebounds, and steals. He is shooting over 42% from three. Holy Lord, that's good. His plus-minus is almost plus 10 a game. Second in the NBA in scoring. And by the way, when Paul scores big over 30, they're 21-4. He is not one of these guys that when he goes off, the team is less of a team. No, Paul is scoring over 30 or more. They're 21-4. He is now second, leads the NBA in steals. He is the best two-way player in the NBA and had not missed any games until recently. He had an injury. Okay, so he is the best player. He's my MVP of the league right now. Number 2 is Giannis.
Number 2.
Okay, I get it. Everybody loves Giannis. He's missed 5 games. The Bucks have a winning record when he's missed 5 games. Oh, by the way, his Bucks are just as good when he's not on the floor. I looked it up. 7.7. Now, I'm not saying he's not great. He's a remarkable rebounder. Longest player in the league. Leads the Bucks in virtually everything. Bucks have the best record in the NBA. He's going to win the MVP. But I always go to that plus-minus thing. He's on the floor, they're not on the floor. They're like 7.7. So I don't think he matters. I'm not saying he doesn't matter a ton. Paul George, to me, having to play with Westbrook and doing what he's doing and shooting well into the 40% range for three-pointers, Giannis is my second best player.
Number 3.
You know, we're forgetting Kevin Durant's amazing. You know, Kevin's had an amazing year. His best assist year ever. Do I think he coasts a little more defensively than Paul George? I do. But he's only missed 1 game this year. He's averaging almost 28 a game. The Warriors do have the best record in the West. He is their best overall player. Career high in assists. I can't put him over Paul George this year because I think Paul's giving me a more intense, passionate defensive effort. And I think Paul's had to play with a tougher teammate in Russell Westbrook. But Kevin Durant, I'd put number 3.
Number 4.
I'd put Steph Curry. Again, because of James Harden, we're not paying attention to Steph Curry, who, by the way, is third in the NBA, averaging 28.5 a game. Now, I dock him because he has missed 11 games. But this is where I give him credit. When Kevin Durant misses games, and he's only missed 1 this year, they have a winning record. The Warriors, the reigning dynasty, are under 500 in the 11 games Steph Curry has missed. He is just off points, assists. He is just below his unanimous MVP year. Once again, because he's not loud and dramatic, and he's not a drama king. We don't pay attention. Steph Curry is having an unbelievable NBA season.
Number 5.
James Harden. I know. But I do think Curry's defense, he at least gives me a better effort consistently than James Harden. Also, when Harden goes into, I'm just going to take over the game and not pass, the Rockets are 11-11. He's had to deal with some injuries. But I really believe, and I'll say it again, Steph Curry, if I started a franchise tomorrow, Steph and James Harden, I'm taking Steph Curry. Plays well with others, best shooter of my lifetime, incredibly efficient, can play with multiple stars, unbelievably coachable, best ball handler since Isaiah Thomas. Harden would be my 5th best player, my 5th MVP choice.
Number 6.
Joel Embiid's having a monster year. Listen, first couple years couldn't play. He's really into the social media stuff, but he's top 5 in scoring, 2nd in rebounding, career highs and everything. Unlike Ben Simmons, his game's getting better. Ben Simmons has been a real disappointment for me this year. Apparently, he spent the offseason hanging out with his girlfriend because he can't shoot any better than last year, and it's his big flaw. Joel Embiid's had a monster year. Now, he has missed 9 games, but when he misses, despite all their talent, they're sub 500 when he's out. That shows you the impact of Joel Embiid. I'd make him 6.
Number 7.
Denver Nuggets on the show. Nikola Jokic leads the Nuggets in everything. Nugget fans, here you go. Second best record in the West. He's a great passing big. When he has 9+ assists, they're 22-3. He plays every night. Only missed 1 game. The Denver Nuggets deserve something on this show. Jokic, if you look at all the numbers, how much value to the team, how many things he does well, his availability, I have him 7.
Number 8.
Kawhi Leonard. Listen, they're a better team than last year, and last year they were the number 1 seed in the East. So he has made them better. He's the second best two-way player in the NBA. He's actually having a great year. Career high in points, career high in rebounds. The big knock on him, and I think it's fair, is he's falling into this load management crap. He's missed 18 games this year. And by the way, the Raptors are 13-5 without him. I do think he is the second best two-way player in the NBA, though, and that to me has tremendous value. I don't think there's a lot of elite two-way players. Klay Thompson is, Kawhi Leonard is, Paul George is the best, LeBron used to be.
Number 9.
LeBron James. He's not having a terrible year. By the way, the Lakers are still 24-22 when LeBron plays. He's averaging 27 a game, 8.5 rebounds, 8 assists, and when he's on the floor, the Lakers are plus 6.9 better. 6.9 points better. I know we're going to bury LeBron this year. He is not close to being defensively the same player. Some of that's the injury. Came back and he's not in shape. But I'd say he's having the 9th best year in the NBA.
Number 10.
Damian Lillard. Again, this guy just comes every night. He's missed only 1 game. He's not a very good defensive player. I mean, he's really not a two-way player. He's a gifted offensive player. He is really... It was funny, when he came into the league, we all knew he was talented, but I'm like, he had kind of a quirky-looking shot. He's shooting 47% this year. That's a tremendous number in the NBA. He is a 47% from the floor guy, and the Blazers now have added Rodney Hood and Enes Kanter. This may be a team capable of winning a couple playoff series. They are currently tied for 3rd in the West. And so there you go. Paul George to Giannis, to Kevin Durant, to Curry, Harden, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Damian Lillard are my top 10.